Hi, this is Christopher Lewis, and welcome to Dating Intelligence, the podcast where we give relationship advice from dating to marriage and everything else in between. And always with the goal of helping you to continuously be the best you at all times.
So if you're looking for real, honest information to help you navigate your relationships, we've got you covered.
All
you
right.
looked at me like that again.
You know what? Because I've got you covered. I got you covered, girl. All right, guys. Hello. We are at Sticky Paw Studios for another episode today, and we are super excited to be here. You look fabulous, Jamie.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I decided to wear orange to match our hot guest.
All right.
Because
This is great.
I saw her hair yesterday, and I was like, oh my God, she is like the hottest thing ever. So I'm going to wear orange.
I love what she did with her hair as well.
And then I got this orange CBD drink from Kill Cliff. Thank you guys for hooking us up. I'm
Nice.
super excited to try this.
All right, you got to get me the memo next time on this one because we always have this similar style of dress and everything as well. I don't think I brought an orange shirt today though.
I had to do like a quick swerve. Like when I saw that hair, I was like, I had dug through my drawer. I'm like, I got to find something orange.
All right, so what have you been up to? I know it's been a little bit of a minute and everything good. It's always a minute with us though, because that's when we fly into town. You know, we always fly into town and do our shit here.
Yeah.
So.
I left him at the airport last night. But in my defense, I was on my way to get you, but there were a ton of like flight delays.
Yeah.
Your flight was delayed, and I was like, I'm sorry, I have to turn around and go home.
No, I mean, the airport's
then-
like, it's a serious issue lately. I mean, we flew in to Vegas and we're right at the gate, but there's another fucking plane parked in our spot. And I was like, holy crap, I want to get the hell off this thing, right? So they're like, excuse me, the pilot's like, excuse me, everybody, please take your seatbelts off. But what's going on right now is there is nobody to fly the fucking plane. So they had to wait for a crew member to come in to move the plane so we could actually deplane.
Right.
And with a crying baby on board that's crying the whole time, that is never a fun scenario. So,
no.
Yeah, never fun.
So then I'm going to rat Chris out. He decides to go out last night.
I was good, though. I was really good.
I don't know when you you probably texted me around like 10:30 and I was
but
like
didn't
half
drink.
out of it.
I did not drink. I had
Good for
coffee
you.
and I was great last night.
So he decides for a night out on the town to like go party. And I was like, you know what? I'm staying in and I'm going to leave some blankets out for you. So Travis, do we have...
I don't have it. I don't have it.
Oh my God.
Oh.
I have to show this photo. It's Chris sprawled out on my couch and me being the shitty
Travis is running for his
host
life.
that I am. The code is...
I already got it. Don't worry
Oh,
about
how the
it.
hell?
Oh my God, this is so
you guys,
funny.
so I walk out this morning and I've been getting up early because I'm coming from the East Coast. So it's like 5:30 a.m. and I tiptoe out and I'm like, what the hell? My blankets are probably like a good, I don't know, like foot or two short. So I have him on my freaking couch.
Let's just call it what it was, like a fucking baby swaddle, okay? It was a baby blanket. I'm a fucking 6'3" man and you give me a fucking baby blanket to sleep on. And she goes, have at it. You know?
His whole feet are like hanging out and I felt so shitty. I was like, oh my God. And then I posted on my story and I'm like, am I a shitty host? The first one that freaking votes is my kid and is like, yes. I was like, listen here.
I can't even believe you took that photo. I actually got wind of it on social media. Thank you very much.
Then
this
I
morning.
go and get a blanket and cover his feet. Like I tiptoe over there and I cover up his feet because I feel bad. And someone chimes in and goes, isn't that the blanket your dog chews on? And I'm like, oh my God, I can't fucking win.
There it is.
Oh my God. That
Look at his feet.
is, wait a minute. You can freaking blow that in up, Travis. Oh my God. Like,
Yeah.
pan out.
Let's zoom into his face. Is his mouth open? No, I'm just kidding. Do not pay me back.
No, don't do that. Oh my God, that is so funny.
So,
All right, I'll get you back.
no, do not.
Remember the ice kicking thing at the
Oh,
house?
yeah.
I'm going to
Yes.
get you back,
Oh,
by the way.
shit.
So I might
anyway,
just
good
take
times.
the bed out of the bedroom that you stay in the next time and leave it that way. How about that? So,
Travis, you're so good. How the hell did you get my code? Get in my phone.
he's a technician. That's what he does.
I'm very
He's good at it.
savvy.
Yeah.
Man, anyone I'm dating, I'm going to bring him in here and just sneak the
Hand
phone
him the
over
phone.
to you.
Yeah. Break the code. Break
Yeah.
the code. All right, well,
So-
let's get our guest on. I mean, she is here,
Yes.
and we're trying a new format. We're actually going to walk our guest into the studio now. So if she can come and take a seat, and we will give her the proper introduction that she deserves
Yes.
because she's going to be an amazing guest, folks. And I am going to start, once she gets her headphones on, giving her intro that she deserves. So with that being said, I'm sure she can probably hear me right now. Our guest today is a model who has graced the cover of Playboy magazine and has worked for numerous lingerie and beauty brands. This social media powerhouse sticks to a serious fitness regimen and has taken control of her life over the past few years by living a clean and sober lifestyle. She's also the host of the podcast Inside OnlyFans. Please welcome the sassy and gorgeous CJ Sparxx to the show. What's up?
Oh my God.
What's up, sassy?
Do you think you're sassy?
I try not to be.
Aw.
I guess. Yeah. I guess sassy is a little, I would think like a little on the crazy side. Like, oh, you never know what she's going to say. But
Well,
I guess that's actually a good way to describe somebody too.
I just think that you just look fantastic. So it's like
Thank
this little
you.
sassy look that I'm just sitting there going, "Meow."
Thank you. Thank you so much for wearing a shirt to match.
Yeah. I saw the
Hell
orange
yeah.
hair and I was like, ooh.
How are you?
I'm good.
You good?
I'm so good.
Good.
I can really relate with what you were talking about with the
Plane stuff,
airlines.
right?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
can't believe my flight last night was canceled. This morning we were delayed for a bunch of different reasons. And
Okay.
I'm like, I've never had such a tough time getting to Vegas from LA in my life. So it's so
when
frustrating.
When they cancel last night, what happens? I mean, what
They
do
said
they?
weather.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And then they just send you on your way home. But what if people are like visiting? Do they put you in a hotel? I mean, what's the deal?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'm so grateful that they at least told me before I got to the airport.
Oh,
So-
no.
Oh, that's
Yes.
good. Right.
Yes.
Okay. Because I've had that once again. I think that was probably about 6 months ago. When
You
I went
just
to the
get an alert?
I was coming to visit, to do the podcast, and I
Yeah.
got in I was leaving at 6 p.m. Was at the airport, and then you're sitting there, and they go, "Oh, by the way, the flight's canceled because the plane's delayed for the umpteenth hour."
Yeah.
So they said, "Please go back home and come back tomorrow."
Yeah, it's so stressful.
Mm-hmm.
I'm usually so fortunate. I travel a lot, so I'm usually so fortunate when it comes to these things. And unfortunately, this time it wasn't the case.
Okay.
So, yeah, I guess I'll get it out of the way for all the travel that I have for my birthday month coming up.
You're a Leo as well, right?
Yes.
Okay. What if I'm not going to ask any birthdays, but we're all fellow Leos here.
Yes.
So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, mine is the 16th.
Okay.
August
Well, we've all
16th,
had
yeah.
a happy coming up birthday for you.
Yeah.
What are we
Okay.
doing?
Are you celebrate like the whole month?
You know, I'm single this year. This is the first single birthday that I've had in a long time now. I
Wow.
can't remember, honestly, the last single birthday I had. So, in my 30s at least. So, I am doing the single hot girl all month long
Nice.
celebration.
Nice.
It kind of just happened that way, too. So, I didn't really plan it, but we're going to celebrate all month long.
Oh, that sounds like a lot
I
of fun.
love it.
I will be more than happy to be your wingman around
Okay.
your birthday time if you need one just to hang out with.
Okay.
would
I have
totally
a
do
lot
that.
of wing women, so
Okay.
I do pretty well.
All right. Okay. Well, I guess I didn't phrase that right. I will insert myself in between all of those wing women and hang out with you.
Perfect. I love that. Well, your birthday's coming too, so maybe we can get something going for
Mine
you.
just passed. So, I mean, just like, 3 days ago?
Okay.
Yeah,
3 days
you're
ago.
right after mine, right?
Yeah.
August 2nd?
August 2nd.
Yeah.
And then
Right.
yours was just like 1 or 2 days ago.
August 1st.
Okay. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Yeah,
Wow.
we
Yeah.
banter off each other pretty well because of our
Okay.
birthday.
All
Yeah.
right. Yeah, I love that.
Okay, wait, so you're newly single.
New-ish. I had a 2-year relationship where I was living with somebody, and then I had a rebound relationship after that. It was like, the typical kind of like from the crazy guy to like the really nice, still crazy. I don't
Right.
want to like not give him his dues, still like a big personality, but in kind of a more controlled, softer way. And then now I'm single.
How's
Yeah.
that for you?
It has its really fun days. I do a lot of dating on a site called Seeking Arrangements. I talk about it all the time on Inside OnlyFans. So there's no shame there. That's where I do a lot of my dating. I've been thinking about maybe getting like a Hinge or something. Definitely love the internet dating because I love to get a feel for somebody before I even do like commit to a dinner.
Yeah.
I don't want to sit at a dinner with someone if we're not already like kind of vibing.
Right. Like compatible at that
Yes.
point. Okay.
Yes.
I agree.
Yeah. And then if I'm out with my girlfriends or something, then I'm so bad. I'm like kind of focused on that. So then if I meet somebody, I'm like, yeah, cool. Give me your number or whatever. But then I'm kind of like want to do my own thing. So I should probably try to meet people more organically.
But you like the dating sites then?
I prefer, because I'm a little bit, what is it with your time, where I'm really particular with my time now. That's like the really beautiful thing about being like the 30s. I'm like, you know, even if the guy is hot or something, or even if he's rich, I still need to know that there's like that mental connection, or I just can't, I can't fake it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how do you navigate that for you when you're on an app like that and you're, I don't know what the, what's the site you're on? Sorry, we say that for everyone again.
Seeking Arrangements.
Okay. So on Seeking Arrangement, is it like all the other sites, like the swiping and all that jazz, or how do you connect?
Yeah, tell us about that.
It's mostly just like the DMs.
Okay.
It's not like a swiping situation. I don't know. Like the guys are sometimes older on there, so I don't even know if they might swipe on like the wrong one, and they're like, oh, I lost her, you know, or like, oh, you know, my assistant did the wrong thing or something. I don't know, but it's more just DMing, so it's pretty simple and straightforward.
Okay.
I do think the guys have to pay to be on there, I think. And then the women, it's free. So
Which I feel like is better because it weeds out all the trash.
yeah,
Yeah,
you
good
know,
point.
there's definitely still a lot of trash in there.
Oh, okay.
you would think there's a lot of big personalities on there. I have a lot of really interesting experiences, most in like a good, fun way. Even if it's not a connection, I have like a bunch of funny random stories where I've went out on dates with people that I'm like, okay, you're catfishing, you know, you're
Okay.
not even. I went out with men that don't look like their pictures. That's a thing too.
Yeah. What is that about?
Yeah.
Like,
I
is
don't
it
get
really
that.
them?
Yeah.
Or do they like Photoshop their photos? Or
They're not
it's
smart
older
enough.
pictures. It's older pictures. The same way that a lot of men you'll find, you know, they say, oh, women do like the filters, or
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
it's an older photo. Maybe when she weighed a little less.
Right.
It's typically what it is. The men do that too, though. And sometimes it's so funny because it's like I can see that it's like a picture of a picture, or it's like a really old phone. I mean, that sounds shallow, but
my
if
God.
it's a really old phone and you're taking a photo of yourself in the mirror, you know, it's like, looks like the sepia, like, you know, on
CJ's
it.
like, that one's grainy.
I'm like, what's happening here, sir? Like, is this your best one that you
I
have?
love how she goes, what's happening here, sir?
Yeah. I'm not that, like, this can't be the picture that you think is going to reel them in,
Yeah.
like your hot, you know, your hot piece of ass. That's not going to be the one. So, I try to pass judgment fairly on the pictures, and then if there's really good banter, I love to go to live comedy in LA, and I
that's
love to
great.
laugh. I love to like make fun of myself, and so if a guy can like make me laugh, or if we have like a really quick-witted banter right off the back, then you know, that for me is like a really big turn on. But sometimes if you go to dinner or something, people are drunk, or they're putting like their really solid best foot
Right.
forward, and then you don't really get to know the real them. So sometimes I kind of like the meeting them just randomly on a website too, because then you can get a gauge for their real personality. Sometimes when
Yeah.
you go to dinner, you get yourself geared up, you put your best foot forward. I know I do. That's not the real me though, you know, that's like me on my best perfect day, being my perfect self, you know, and trying to like win you over. So I like that on a website you can kind of hit somebody in the middle of their day and kind of get like a real slice of what they might really be like.
yeah.
How long does that take you to, when you do that at the beginning, to figure and assess
When
that
you're
person out?
texting and going back and forth.
Yeah.
You know, I've found that the longer you take to make the connection, and the connection typically is talking on the phone, because everybody texts now. We're all
Yeah.
constantly on our phones. You can get a feel for somebody's personality via text, but the best test of connection is for a phone call, or if you're feeling really brave, a
FaceTime?
FaceTime.
Right.
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
You don't like that?
I'm so fucking weird and like awkward that
Mm-hmm.
even like talking on the phone, I'm like, all right, I gotta go.
Yeah?
I'll be like, what the
Yeah.
fuck?
Yeah. I mean, there's,
Yeah, I don't know.
yeah, I think I just like push through.
See, you're
I
like-
want like a
Yeah.
relationship, so I just push through.
You're like me. I'm like, I like FaceTiming. I'll FaceTime my
Yeah.
friends just
Yeah.
for the fuck of it. I'll be
Yeah.
like, hey, and they're like, why are you FaceTiming? I go, because I'd rather talk to you face to face.
I mean, I
and
will
get
like my
expressions."
friends but like the new person that I'm talking to, we've been talking for a couple months. I haven't FaceTimed him one time.
But
Yeah.
has he tried to FaceTime you at all?
No.
Okay.
Thank
I
God.
got to see
Yeah.
this.
That's probably a decline.
Sorry.
I don't like. Okay, I will say this. I don't like when it's like a random FaceTime. Although I did that to somebody I'm seeing the other day.
I love to do that to people, but I don't want it done to me.
I was like having the hair and the makeup done. I'm like, hi. Oh yeah. I'm like, oh, you picked up. Oh my god, hi. Like, I'm just getting my. as if that's
what
like
I would do.
how I always am.
Yeah.
So I looked good, but I mean, it's different from men versus women. So I don't like a random FaceTime from somebody that I'm dating, but I can do it. We can do
All right.
it as women.
I'm guilty of that.
Everything that I see of you, you never have really, you're always like super natural. I feel like you don't wear a lot of makeup at all.
Yeah, I'm really trying to go. I have a lot of plastic surgery, but I'm really,
Stop it.
I do. And I like, I love my plastic surgery. Like I love what I've done. Like I'm super happy with all the work that I've had done. Thank God. Cause I had like some really bad work when I first started out, but I feel like I've just paid all this money and I've done like all these different things, like, like different facial and like burning my face and like to get, different.
The perfect look.
Yeah, to just make sure that my skin is like healthy and supple and youthful and all this stuff. So I don't really wear a lot of makeup if I don't
looks
necessarily
flawless.
have
Like
to.
I feel like you hardly have any makeup on
Yeah.
and you
No.
look
Yeah.
beautiful.
I
You do.
like, thank you so much.
Yeah, your
I
face
just
is
go to the
flawless.
gym and I'm like, if you don't, but guys don't care. Guys
They
really don't care.
They don't want like
Yeah.
the big fake lashes.
Yeah,
And
that's another thing. Oh my, I cannot stand those huge fake lashes and like the hair that's like very short, and then you have like these really long,
like the
stitches
mullet
pulling out of it?
extensions.
Yeah, like I mean, I guess after saying that, I might sound like a hater. Like no shade to the people that want to do that, but
Yeah.
for me, I'm like, oh man, I can't. I just couldn't handle the upkeep. I know that when I'm dating somebody, like you're gonna see me without the hair and the
Right.
makeup at some point. I can't have you thinking that like this
That's
is really
you.
what you're gonna wake up to every day. It's kind
Right.
of unfair in a way. So yeah,
I love
You're
that.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even when you were in Mexico, I was watching her stories and I'm like, she's photo shooting
Yeah.
and she has like barely any makeup on.
Yeah. I think that's really that's the beautiful part of entering your 30s though. I really feel like I'm just confident in what I have going on, what I'm bringing to the table, and if I met somebody and they just said, look, that's just not enough, I would be sad probably, especially if I really like that person, but I would just accept it. And I'd be
Yeah.
like, okay, that's cool. You don't want what I have to offer. Cool.
I don't see
on
that
to the
being
next.
the case,
So,
but
It happens.
I'm going to
It
interject on that
happens.
one. Hopefully that's happening on your app and not in person after they've been to you a few times, because that's just the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. If any guy
I think
does
you're
that,
I think you're so much more beautiful in person.
Thank
Like you're
you.
beautiful in your photos and
Thank you.
on your social, but he said the same thing.
Right.
He's like,
Thank
wow,
you. Yeah.
she's so beautiful
Yeah,
in person.
you are.
I'd rather that because
Of
I get
course.
by on the photos, like
Right.
it's like we know it's there,
but it's the
slap it
personality,
up.
and this is why I like meeting people in person and why I have everyone's next to me, by the way.
Yeah.
Because I'm
Shut the
just
hell
saying, because I get the full energy. is all I'm saying.
Controlling man alert. Oh no.
I'm not controlling. I'm just very honest.
I'm not controlling. Don't call me controlling. Oh, okay.
I'm just very honest. No,
Yeah.
no, but I was going to say the fact that, when you're with someone was saying this the other day where they were with someone for a while and the guy's like, you're just not enough. I'm like, then why the fuck was he with you in the first place? Like,
Wait, he told her she wasn't enough?
yeah, after like about 4
Not
weeks
enough
to-
how?
she didn't get
Sexually?
into
Look at
no, it
all of
wasn't-
us.
yeah,
We're like, we
right.
won't even let him
Yeah.
finish.
I didn't get into the full scope of it, but
Yeah.
she just said, all she said was like, he said I just wasn't enough. And I'm like, what does that mean?
But you know what though? That really, it's typically just very self-reflective. He
Yeah.
might have felt like he wasn't enough or he didn't deserve whatever
That's what I'm
relationship.
saying.
Yeah. I mean, thank God that he told her after 4 weeks and not 4 years.
That's
4 kids.
I I said the
true.
same thing
Yeah.
about that. Well, at least it's now and not later on down
Yeah.
the road where he's just like, now
Yeah.
you're all
Well,
kind of really
I
flustered.
mean, I can give some examples of not enough. Like, I think for me, like when I date long distance, like I have a 2 week. So if they can't, one, I need someone that's going to put in a lot of effort.
Right.
So someone that's not like putting in effort is not going to be enough.
Right.
If you can go longer than 2 weeks without seeing me, it's not going to be enough
That's
for me.
fair. That's very
So
fair.
I think like having boundaries in play is a good idea. So if I know that they're not going to come to the table with those, then I know it's not going to work for me.
Right, right. I get
Boundaries
that.
are very, very, very important. I think sometimes too, when you hear the word boundaries, you think automatically your mind goes to things that you won't do. That's
Right,
not
like
always
like
the
limits.
case.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like limitations.
Your
This is
boundaries
it.
where you were saying, these are the things that I need. This is like a hard line in the sand for me. That's a boundary as well. That's where you draw the line where something works and then something doesn't. And then that's it for you. You either move forward or you don't. I'm like learning about that at this point in my life. I'm learning more and more. The more I find out, the more I know, the more I find out I don't actually know anything.
Okay.
So I try to stay in a continual state of learning. But right now, boundaries is a real big one for me because
Okay.
if I can't ask for what I want. If I don't know what I want, I can't ask for what I
correct.
want from either my current partner or a potential partner. But it's kind of on me, and that like transcends, you know, even to the bedroom and all that. Like, you first have to know what you want from that person, and then that person can either choose to rise to the occasion or
not.
say goodbye.
100%.
Yeah.
And the same goes for like when people are upset. So if someone does something that you don't like, it's not fair to be mad at them if you don't communicate what
Right.
you don't like.
Right.
So until you give them the opportunity to kind of change that, it's unfair for us to be upset.
Right.
Especially
So-
when you bug out at the beginning and not giving them a chance to try to reciprocate and make it better. I
Right.
understand that as well. So, so you're learning your boundaries then right now is what you're saying.
I'm like learning what I want and what I don't want.
Okay.
I just went bungee jumping for the first time like ever in my life, and it was so terrifying. But it was so interesting because it's very much like a metaphor for life in a way, like where you just kind of have to do that jump. Like what am I going to do? I'm going to go up there. I'm going to cry. I'm going to not do it. And I'm not going to have the experience after I went all this way, i.e. I'm, 36 going to be 37. And what am I going to do? Like, am I going to stop here? Am I going to like be too scared to like take chances and go to the next place in my life? Or am I going to continue on? I mean, maybe I get hurt, from the bungee jump or whatever. Hopefully I don't, splat on the ground, but like maybe, there's all these different things. Maybe you hurt your back, or maybe you get really scared and you pee yourself and everybody laughs. You know what I mean? Like, there's all these different like what ifs, or, you don't like it and you're scarred for life or whatever. I guess, yeah, like those are the options, but also there's a lot of really cool things that can happen too if you just kind of like trust the process. So that was like really,
I like that. But
Yeah.
Did anything happen to you?
no, I was fine.
good?
And how did you feel?
Did your
after the
body
fact?
hurt?
I was, you know what? Okay, so here's the interesting thing. My body, it was a 2.5 hour hike there and then like a 2 hour hike back.
Man.
My body hurt more from the hike, and I was like carrying like a little cheap backpack. I wasn't carrying like a hiking backpack where the weight would have probably been better distributed. So my neck hurt from the hike, and then like my calves and my feet hurt from the hike. The bungee jump, swear to God, I have a bulging disc. Welcome to your 30s, guys. I have a bulging, there's like this hot girl with like no bra, and she's like, I have a bulging disc. I do, I have a bulging disc. Like, I don't know what happened. I did a wrong workout move. So I was like doing all the right things as we do, and you still fuck your shit up. So I was concerned about that. And even my chiropractor was like, if you were my daughter, I would tell you not to do it. And I'm like, okay, well, that's just like one more no and a sea of like, I'm like waiting for that one yes, go do it, girl. He did say, he's like, I'll put you back together if you mess yourself up. So with that, I went and did it. And I swear it like snapped something into place in my back.
Wow.
No joke.
Yeah.
It's the craziest thing. So bungee jumping was good for me, wildly enough.
So
Not the hiking part.
To go somewhere 2.5 hours, the bungee, was this off like a big bridge or
Yes.
something?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
got it. Yeah.
It was on her freaking
Wow.
story.
I gotta look
Yes,
at that.
it's
I
called the
haven't-
I was
Bridge
like-
to Nowhere.
Okay.
Yeah, 33 years. It's Bungee America. They've never had an issue. There's a lot of different safety precautions. Apparently, a lot of extra safety precautions
Okay.
that they take so that you do have a very fun, safe experience. The guy who actually counted me down, because there's like a special way that you do it. Long story short, he's like looking me, like Jamie's the guy, and he's doing like this, and I'm on the edge, and I'm doing like this too, and he counts, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, bungee, and then you let go. But
Okay.
you're looking at that person in the eye, and I'm like crying and looking at him in the eye, and he's counting me down. That's kind of like my safe space in a way. That guy that counted me down was also sober, 6 years. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So
That's great.
it was
Look,
so
I have
cool.
chills.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
it was
amazing.
really, it was a really cool experience. for
And
me.
did you see him after your jump?
Yeah, he pulled me back up, and he was like, I told you you'd be okay. I'm like, I'm like, that was incredible. He's like, do you want to go again? I'm like, no. Get me out of
So
it.
you're a one and done.
I'm a one and done. I did it. Been there, done that. Literally got the t-shirt. Literally have a Bungee America t-shirt.
That's amazing.
I was
And-
a one and done too.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Did you do by your ankles? Or your
I didn't
waist?
do by the ankles. I did by
By the
the waist,
waist.
and then I did a backwards fall.
Oh,
Okay.
I didn't do
man.
a face first.
Okay, I
Yeah.
did by the ankles,
Okay.
face first.
Wow.
And then my top flew off.
Yeah,
Which they did
That's
not tell
hot.
me.
Okay.
That's
So
hot. Okay. Where is this at? Maybe we have to go.
I went face first, and the top was like, I'm like, I can't
You're like,
see
that better be
anything."
free. You better not be charging me for that, yo.
I'm just envisioning Jamie's boobs hitting her.
I know, right? You're like,
They're not that big.
yeah.
Just saying, come on, the black eye.
I'd be like hurting because I have like a lot of breast implant and not a lot of skin there. So I'd be like, holding myself.
Well,
and then my back hurt
Yeah.
so bad. I was like, I feel like I got whipped around.
Yeah.
That feels like to me, maybe you're, if you're hanging by your ankles, that feels a little bit more like you might be whipped around.
Yeah, because when it was, when you got pulled up, it was like the second drop.
Yes.
It's like whipping. It was like whipping me.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man.
I was good. I was like able to kind of sit up. So for me, it was really
Okay.
I had a blast. I just had to get off of it.
Yeah. How long before they let you settle for both of you guys? 'Cause I've seen it, but when you're doing the bouncing around, how long does it take to finally settle before they go, okay, she's settled, now we can pull her back up?
Just probably a few seconds.
Okay.
I think I bounced like 3 times and then they were pulling me back up.
Okay, because
I
I feel
don't
like that
remember.
initial drop is going to pull you up pretty high again.
Yeah, it
feels
did.
like, right?
It did. We almost I was like up under the bridge. I'm like, oh God, jeez. Yeah, I'm like, got some cobwebs up here under this bridge.
That's crazy. Would you skydive?
I don't think so.
No?
I don't think so. Yeah. I guess, that's kind of the natural next progression.
Yeah.
I think dating in LA is dangerous enough. I don't know if I'm like, I did the bungee jump thing. Now I'm like with a renewed sense of like, dating and life and all that. So I think I'll just stick to that dangerous activity for now.
Man, everybody says that. It's a little, it's like being out in the jungle in LA.
Well, I was supposed to jump with Joe's sister, and she
I
had her
remember that.
accident.
Yeah.
So
Right.
then, so she's paraplegic now, and she had like 7,000 jumps. She's a professional skydiver, and then Dan kind of linked me with Max, who's another professional, and he just recently passed like 2 weeks ago. So my girlfriend is like, Jamie, this is a sign.
Right.
You are not jumping
keep
out of
your
a
feet on the
plane.
ground.
And I'm like,
I think you fly enough as it is. You don't need to be jumping out,
like
of, shit
out of the
now.
plane.
So,
Yeah.
So it's such a tricky thing.
Right.
But
One and
maybe.
done for me.
Yeah, I'm with you.
But you did it. You did
Yeah,
it.
you did
And
do
all
it.
those
Yes.
worries, which is funny. I was thinking about you. You were talking about all the worries, and I was like, I'm like that on a fucking roller coaster. Like
Yeah.
I'll get at the top and be like, okay, why am I on this thing? What am I going to do? We're going to go down
Yeah.
really fast and you start talking yourself out of it. But
Right.
then when it's over, you're like,
That was
wow.
incredible. Yeah.
Right.
I think honestly, it really is like a metaphor for life. And even in dating, there's a lot of, people are like, oh, there's in LA, it's just a bunch of people that are like posers and everybody's fake or whatever. And it's like, well, but there's a lot of that wherever. Like I'm just doing my best to sift through. And that's kind of like all you can really do. Because
Yeah.
there's a lot of men and women that are out there that probably are
This is
saying,
true.
this is my life, and they're projecting it on social media one way, and then they go home and maybe they have a lot of debt, or maybe they have a drinking problem or a drug problem, and it's like, that's kind of like life in general. That's
Yeah.
why I guess you only get with one in the end.
That's true.
Let's talk about your sobriety. Are you open to
Yeah.
talking about that?
Let's do it,
What,
yeah.
What was that journey like for you? My brother is 15 years sober.
Oh my God, that's incredible.
collect
Hell
his
yeah.
coins.
Ah,
So every year he is like, here you go, sis.
I love
great.
that.
So I keep them in my, it's always just a reminder, like every day is a choice. And I
Yes.
ask him because he's recovering meth addict, actually.
Okay, nice.
So,
I hear that
all
was
the
fun
things.
for
Yeah.
the run. Yeah.
so I asked him, I'm like, this year we went out, we celebrate because it's like a birthday.
Right.
And I get my coin from him and I'm like, is it easier? Like, does it get easier? And he's like, no, every day.
Every day.
He's like, every single day I wake up, it's a choice.
Yes. Yeah.
And I have to make that choice. And I'm
Yes.
like, after 15 years.
Yes. Yeah. Everyone is always like, you still going to those classes? I'm like, still going.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Every day. It's like being sober is like choosing choosing every day to be in love with your partner. Every day I choose to I feel like be in love with myself and remember that I'm worth it to not be out there in the scene and kind of searching for, friendships and connections and romantic connections and
Right.
professional connections that are just kind of at the bottom of a bottle that
And
never really
sometimes
came
it's
through
just
anyway.
affirmations and validations on
Yeah.
top of it as well.
Yeah.
That we're seeking
But
for
you have to
ourselves.
choose. You really have to choose every day to, okay, today I'm going to stay sober again. Today I'll take another 24. That's what we say in the meetings sometimes. And it's definitely one day at a time. But it's really a relationship with yourself. And that's much like anything. You have to work at it. Like you were saying as well, you have to work at it.
Yeah.
And I think that Today, we're used to everything coming so fast. Even the food, like, does the food not come faster even at the restaurant?
Like instant gratification,
Yes,
which is, I think, sometimes it kills us.
Yes.
It's not good.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because people learn or they forget how to work for things.
Correct. And I even do this myself. I'm so guilty of it, even different things on social media. I'm trying to get my YouTube going again, and I'm like, I don't want to have to post. It's only gonna, what if they don't like it? So then I just don't do it, and then like I still lose, because I don't do it. So it's like you just have to make that decision that every day you're gonna kind of do something that is gonna make you a little bit uncomfortable. That's kind of what I'm practicing right now. Every day. I mean, once I got sober, it was incredibly uncomfortable. I thought, I'm never going to have fun again. I'm never going to connect. Like, how am I going to connect with anyone? How am I going to go to a party? How am I going to leave and go grocery shopping? How am I going to leave the house and go grocery shopping? How am I going to go to a party and talk to people that I don't know? How am I going to just be at the party there? Like, am I going to go by myself? Am I going to go with my friends? But then my friends are going to be drinking. So like, should I just maybe go alone? And then if I'm alone, what does that look like?
Right. A lot of questions.
I was like mad at sports for a little while because this whole time I really was like, I love sports. And then I realized I don't really even give a shit about what's happening here. I just enjoyed going and drinking.
It's the experience of it all.
Now I like sports again, but there was I had like a resentment at sports because I was just like, what was I doing? Like, I was sitting here drinking. I wasn't paying attention. And so you really have to relearn how to live. The beautiful part about it is I do feel like I'm having like a bit of a second childhood. Like, there's so many, everything is exciting again.
That's great. That's fantastic.
Yeah, because I was always so fortunate. I always had a boyfriend for the most part, some poor guy that just like loved me to pieces, and he'd be like picking me up off the floor and helping me, get to bed, or picking me up off the seat at the club. I'd be like passed out. I was notorious for taking a nap in the club.
I can tell you stories about friends of that as well.
Hilarious.
I would be
so you would drink and then pass out?
Yeah, if there wasn't any cocaine left.
Right.
Yeah. If I'd snorted it all, probably, then I'd just like, okay, time for a nap. And then, I would do that. I would get in fights. With people. I'd be like so like sassy and nasty and just say things I wouldn't want anybody to like talk to me or talk to my friends, or I'd get so,
You hit the full
I would just
spectrum.
get combative.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna lead into that now, because we're gonna start from the origin story of that part of all this when you started with everything. But today's topic, guys, it's called "The Party's Over." When you finally decide that there's more to your well-being and to who you truly are than just being the life of the party. So let's talk about
like
the beginning.
She's the life of the party now.
Yeah.
Well, and
I'd love to rephrase that.
You're literally like in your 30s, just listening to your story right now, and you keep prefacing how, or going back to your 30s. I'm like, you're living your best life right now. It sounds unbelievable.
I truly feel like the party's just starting. I just feel like I get to make the decisions for myself now. A lot of times I would just fall into things.
Of course.
And I wouldn't have to work for it. I was young. I was good looking for the most part when I was sober and could keep it together. And so things would just happen by happenstance. I didn't really have to go out and work for too much. And so once I got sober, I started realizing like I have to make these conscious decisions.
Yeah.
I was telling our friend Michael, like sober sex is crazy, because you're like, okay, now I'm going to do this. And then, okay, he's doing it like that. Okay, I'm going to do it like this. And there's healthy dialogue in your head, but there's a little bit of dialogue where you're making these decisions. Oh, I like it like this. Oh, that doesn't feel so great. I want to try it like this. I never experienced that during sex. And I never really experienced the conscious decision making for most of my 20s. I never experienced that. I'm really fortunate that I was surrounded with a lot of good people. Unfortunately, sometimes girls get themselves into really unsafe situations, and I'm so fortunate. I never really had anything that was like scarring or traumatizing in that way.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
I'm glad you had it. So you had a good crew around you then.
Yeah.
So you think sex is way better sober?
Oh, sex is a million. Where's the camera? Sex is a million. Where is it?
Here.
A million trillion times better when you're sober. But you have to know what you want.
Yeah.
So I don't know what you need to do. Ladies, go home and masturbate. Men, go home and masturbate. The men are already doing it. It's still healthier for the men to do it. Ladies, it's healthy for us too. go home and figure out what you want. I'm like currently, I wasn't having sex for like a few months because I couldn't find anyone like to have sex with that I wanted to have sex with.
Yeah.
But I recently had the sex again, and let me tell you, there's still even those awkward moments where you're seeing somebody new, or maybe you're with a familiar partner but you haven't seen them for a while or whatever. There's gonna be like awkward moments,
Of course,
during sex. It happens. It's two people, so there's gonna be like a miscommunication. There's bound to be something like that. But when you're sober, like you have to learn to speak up, but then that's where it gets good.
Okay,
Yes, it
so
does.
give me an example. Because so when you're do you wait until after you're done having sex, or do you tell them what you want in the middle of it?
The best way to do it, in my experience, is to say it in the nicest way possible. So you want to be encouraging, like, oh my God, that feels so good. Wow, right there. I love it when you do that. Or, you look so hot, or can you do it like this? Typically, like, what's the worst thing? Like, if you're having sex and you're like giving it your all, and so it's like, oh, that hurts, or I don't like it like that, So ideally you wouldn't say like, oh, I don't like when you do that. If there is something that you like, which hopefully there is, you're naked in this, and you're having sex with this person. So hopefully there's one or two things that they do that you like.
Right.
So then you would highlight those aspects of what you like, and then kind of ask for more from there. And I always used to be really afraid to like touch myself because I need clitoral stimulation. I always used to feel so bad, like, oh, this guy is going to feel like he's not enough, or I'm going to offend him. And now I'm just like, if you make fun of me for touching myself, you're weird.
Right.
Like, you don't want me to feel good. Like, something's wrong with you.
Yeah.
you
Well,
know?
has a guy ever said that to you?
I think when I was younger, I think like it might have been like, oh, like move your hand or something like that. And then I'm like, oh, I feel
like,
bad.
no.
I honestly wasn't having good sex up until like a few years ago.
okay.
I
Yeah.
think sex gets better the older we
I
get.
think so,
Yeah.
too.
Because we become more comfortable, like with
Right.
ourselves, and we
Right.
figure out what we like and what we don't like, and then we're able to speak up and guide.
Right.
And it's still
Awkward.
awkward. Yeah.
But that's
like
the beauty of it.
Yeah.
though. Like
yeah.
you said earlier, when you were saying on how two people in the room, like if you haven't seen each other for a while, like,
Yeah.
it's always awkward for my girlfriend and I because we're in and
What?
we're out. Well, I'm saying, remember what I told you in the car? I
In
go,
and out.
Remember what I told you in the car?
Yeah, we had. I told Jamie in the car. I go, we had 4 hours of the best sex the other day.
Oh,
It's been
yeah,
a
that's so
while.
hot.
But it's because like we were on the same page and we hadn't seen each other.
Yeah.
But it was awkward when you get into it because it's like,
Yes.
ooh, like this is like kind of weird.
Even though
but
you've been having sex with her for 4 years.
yeah, but what CJ said, it's like you're always coming in this ebb and flow, and it's
Right.
like when you're out of sync with each other,
Yes.
you're gonna feel out of sync in the bedroom
Yes.
just the same way.
Yes.
So it's not like
Yes.
you're just because all of a sudden the clothes are off, you're like,
Right.
gonna go, let's get into it and get back. It's like,
Right.
oh, like I wonder if
Yeah.
I got to get back into the feeling.
Maybe you're
in the flow.
tired, or maybe
Right.
she's tired, or maybe
Right.
your thoughts are on work, or maybe you had a big lunch. Like, there's all these different
Right.
factors that have nothing to do with your partner.
Right. And and I'll be the first to admit I don't want to underperform. I know blah blah. It's like you think all these things, especially when it's been a while like that you have it. When you're in sync though, it's magic, and that's like you're saying that when you're doing it and you're together like that, it's easy to work through that. But I appreciate the fact that you actually speak up and say something because I
have
feel like all
to.
women and guys should do
Yeah.
that. If it's
Yeah.
not right and you're just doing the same old thing, especially for guys, it's like it's boring for you guys after a while. Like pay attention.
Do you have like a sex talks before you actually have sex?
I haven't done that. I would definitely be open to that. Recently, I met somebody at a sex party, or I went to this sanctum party, and
What's that?
it's a sex party. He left the building for a minute. He went to the sex party. Okay.
I missed the sanctum one. Been the one familiar with that one.
Yeah.
Though. Tell more, please.
And I had a really incredible time. I was there as one of the performers. I wasn't having live sex, but I was walking around and I was nude, and I was like, it was really cool. And it was actually really big for me because this was my first sex party I'd ever been to sober. I'd worked one, but I got shit-faced drunk. I ended up losing my phone. It was like super embarrassing. I was being paid a small fee to be there, and ended up having to buy a whole new phone. So it's like I had to pay to be there, and I worked at the end of the day, and I had a big hangover the next morning. So
did you fall asleep though?
Yeah, no, I did not. I did not. Thank God for that.
They're like,
yeah.
who's the hot naked girl in the corner?
Yeah, right. They're like, oh, never mind. Walk over her. But this was like a big deal for me as well because I wanted to do one sober, and I do a lot of nude modeling for a living, and I have for a while now, and I was so nervous. I was so nervous during the sex party. I like didn't know what to expect. It was so cool though. It was a really cool, very hand selected group of people. So everybody there was really, there was a lot of good looking people and everybody was very kind and open and there was good vibes. So that being said, at the end of the night, I was like getting ready to go. I was like kind of like looking at my watch, like, okay, I'm almost there. Like I'm almost going to make it. It's like a witching hour where as a performer, either you could collect your check and leave or you could take off what little you had on and you could join the party. And I'm like, oh, I don't know if I'm ready to join the party just yet. So I stayed till the end of the night. And then like 20 minutes before I left, there was somebody that came up and he was like, oh, hey, I know you. You're on the Inside OnlyFans podcast. I'm like, good God. Okay. I have a necklace on and heels. I'm like, hi. And so we met. He ended up having a mutual friend and we stayed in touch through Instagram. And so I guess, wow, I'm really telling on myself here. I didn't realize this is like a really short timeline. So I try not to do these short timelines, but here we go. So I recently had sex with this person and it was really kind of cool because meeting in that atmosphere really enabled us to kind of lead with our sexual desires. And that normally wouldn't be on the table that fast, because it's like, especially for women, what do we want to do? You want to go to the dinner and you want to be prim and proper and every hair needs to be in place and you like can't sleep with them that fast. Right. And it's like, I say we, but I guess maybe some women are not there. Maybe they're better at that. But I still have these like societal constructs where I'm like, okay, if I sleep with them on the first day, I'm a dirty whore and not in the good way. So, so now I'm like kind of trying to shed that a little bit and just do, if something feels right, I trust myself now as a sober person. I feel I'm connected, like, for the most part, mind, body, and spirit. And if I want to do that, I'm good. I'm at a point where I feel like I'm gonna lean in because I trust my body,
and
what it's saying to me.
Yeah, good for you.
So so I recently kind of like explored, I guess, going backwards a little bit, like with that person where you just lead with the sex, you talk about the sex, and it's been really cool. It's been really intriguing. Maybe wild sex to come in my future with this person. Who knows?
Jamie nailed the what do you call it? The nail on the head. But basically, you're starting your best life. I mean, like you're going to just be on this thing now where you're starting to know who you are as yourself now, what you want, what you want to do, and just let the rules go. Keep your rules, but just allow yourself to be. And I think that's the beauty of like all these things that you've said today, like the bungee jumping, this and that. I mean, even there, you're exploring and just being your best self right now.
I'm really seeking out uncomfortable situations.
Good.
Yeah.
That's how we
I
grow.
love that. Yeah.
Yes.
You got to get comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yes, exactly. And so, it's been really nice to kind of find people that fit that mold and that are kind of allowing like a safe space for me to say, like, I want to try this or I want to do this or what about this? So I never saw this for me. I was raised very religiously and I thought like that I was going to, I know. Incredibly religious.
Were you shamed for sex?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Shamed for everything. I sang a song in the church one time growing up and it had something like about a monkey in the song and I was shamed because like it was talking about like a monkey in the jungle. And then I don't know, somehow it got that they thought I was trying to sing that like the monkey turned into a man and they were like God created man. I'm like, I was so young. I'm like, I didn't,
calm down.
Yeah. I'm like, I didn't understand. I was like reprimanded behind the church by one of the elders. And I was like, this is so weird. Like I remember just being a little girl thinking this is so weird. But like, so it was incredibly staunch Christian. But it's just little things like that where I'm like, I can't, and you're so young. So these are things that are ingrained. So if I can't sing a song that has like a monkey in it, then like, what am I, then you can only imagine what else in the church. It was like, shame. And we went like 5 days a week, 6 days a week to the church. My dad was really involved.
That's a lot. Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then probably having to unlearn.
Yes.
And then the trauma.
So much. Yeah, I have a lot of religious trauma, but we work through that. We're in therapy. Hot girls do therapy. Hot guys do therapy. Yeah.
Right.
We have all the sex that we want to have, and we do therapy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that led to, like your earlier years in your 20s and a lot of that behind that? Like just the extra, just I need to be free. I want to do what I want to do sort of, feeling?
I never even felt like I needed to be free.
Okay.
Like
that's great.
I was just such like I had no backbone really, because we didn't talk about anything. That's why boundaries are still so brand new for me. I didn't know. You think boundaries is like, oh, that's like a prude person, or they just always say no. And it's like, no, you have the things that you stand for, the things that you desire, and then the things that you say, no, that's not what I'm looking for. No, thank you. And then you like move it along. I didn't know that there was like 2 ways you could do that even. So I just didn't have a backbone, and I was very much like flitting through life. And I think that's why I drank so much too, because there was a lot of noise in my head always telling me that I wasn't good enough, or that I was, like maybe like some sort of like an imposter or fake. And then, everybody would somehow find out like, I don't know, that I was like behind everyone, and then they wouldn't want to be my friend. Like there was just this consistent
That's such
fear.
a real thing.
Yes.
What is it called? Imposter syndrome. Like I dated an actor, and he struggled with it a lot.
Yeah.
And I'd never even heard it or really understood it until I dated him.
Because that's him feeling as though he's not worthy of success.
Right.
Like why me? Why would I be somebody that should have success?
That's so ironic and crazy to me, because he's extremely successful.
Right.
Like you are extremely beautiful and talented. So we would never know.
Right.
Like the outside world would never know that is an internal struggle for you.
Yeah.
And even though you see it as big as a picture, because I feel like I struggle with some of that.
You do?
I do, because it's like I'm relating to you because of the fact that you're like, you feel like, not that I ever felt like I was that much of an imposter, but I always felt like, I'm never good enough to succeed in certain things.
Yes.
But yet it's like, I'm the life of the party, I'm fun, I'm da-da-da. But at the same time, it's like, there's this struggle that I go through of always trying to like, be the best person I can be, but I'm insecure about it sometimes. I fight myself against it.
And that's you trying to compensate, because you wouldn't think that those people would want to hang out with you just as you are, just having a regular, relaxed conversation. So you feel the need to say, yeah, I'm going to be the life of the party. I'm going to stand up and make everybody laugh and be the center of attention, because that's you trying to earn like their love and respect. And and it's just
and mine came from a different version of what you're saying. So don't get me wrong, because I know you're wondering. It's like mine came from the fact that I always felt I was different, because here's this black male and with most of my friends, majority of my friends are white. I only dated white women, da-da-da. So I'm already feeling like I'm against the whole grain anyways, and trying to prove myself that I'm just like everyone else. I'm not a color, I'm not this. So that was my struggle. Yeah. And I still kind of do that I'm way better. I'm my own person now. I'm like a strong individual male now. But at the time, it's just like, I always felt like I had to prove something.
Do extra.
Correct. Yeah.
Yes.
Right. That's correct.
So that they would be okay that you're there.
Right. And not know that, okay, here's this black guy
Maybe
hanging
I
out
do
there
that
and
in my
da-da-da.
dating.
Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, we all have some sense of it where we always have self-doubt. It's just
Everybody
a sense of self-doubt.
has, and it's like your traumas that are instilled from childhood. Everything comes from your childhood.
Yes, it does.
Everything. Yeah. And there's so much that we don't even realize, now that I'm doing like all this inner work, there's like so much like there's so many layers. I'm like, how messed up am I? Oh God, will it ever be over? But it's like, it's kind of beautiful, because in a sense, if I'm messed up, and now here we are, all 3 of us very capable adults, we can fix it. If I am somewhat in control, because control is an illusion, but if I'm somewhat in control, then I can fix, like I can do all this different self-work to remind myself that I'm worthy. Like now I feel like I can just go over to my friend's house and I can sit on the phone with my friend. If I need to be on the phone, I can say, hey, I need to take a minute.
Oh my God, I love that.
Yeah.
That's great.
And that's even like when I travel with my girlfriends, and I have one of my gal pals, Holly Barker, we're like, okay, we can travel together because it's like you go to bed and you're like sit on the phone and like, we'll have that quiet moment. Okay. Whereas if I'm with somebody that feels like they always need to fill the space, be it either personally or romantically, I can't do that. Like I need this moment to just kind of like sit there and decompress. And
But you
the
felt
old me,
compelled
yes,
in the old days.
the old me
Yep.
would have never asked for that. You know,
Right.
hey, can I just sit on my phone for a moment? Can we just be together in this space? I would have felt like I needed to entertain or to compensate, because
hear
why
ya.
would they want to be next to me
Right.
if I'm not giving of myself to them, or there's no value in it. It's like, no, there's actually a lot of value in it, even if we just sit next to each other and we're on our phones for a moment. Not all day, hopefully. Certainly not while you're having sex, but
Right.
for a moment, after the dinner is done, you want to go in bed and you be on your phone, like that's okay. That person should still want to be near me or be near you, even if there's not like this huge energetic exchange happening at that moment. But
Right.
it took a while for me to get there.
Yeah, you'll get better at
I
it.
call it my me time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then those are always like the best friends to have.
Yeah.
Like I can honor your space and you honor mine, and we don't have to be in like we're like that.
Right.
He
You should
comes to
see
my
us.
house,
Yeah.
It's crazy.
and he just
Yeah.
goes off and does his own thing.
Yeah.
But I don't feel the need to entertain him.
That's right.
Like my house is your house. Don't ask me for anything. Just
That's
go
right.
get it.
Just get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. I
Yeah,
love that.
we're really
though.
good at that, by the way.
Yeah, and that's really beautiful. The most beautiful friendships or relationships is like, that's kind of what I'm appreciating about this person right now. Is like, this person doesn't really like need anything from me, and it's so nice, to
Yeah.
feel like, okay, that person is already starting full. That feels really
Yeah.
good,
Yeah,
because
good.
I think it can be kind of scary in a way, if somebody's kind of clamoring at you all the time. And I've been in relationships like that where we wake up and it's like, okay, what are we doing today? And it's like, well, I have actually a lot to do. I don't know about you.
Yeah, what are you doing?
Yeah. And then I'm thinking of like errands to send that person on or something. And now all of a sudden it becomes me. So like now I won't date any retired people. I don't want to date. Like, you need to have something
On
going
your own.
on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
If
And-
you're working towards a goal or something.
I like CJ. I love
Yeah.
everything you're saying, because that's how I live my life. It's like,
Yeah.
I want to be with someone who's doing her own thing and not
Yes.
just always feeling like they're relying on me, or
Yes.
just feeling needy or
Even
whatever.
if it's like a charitable endeavor, because my goal, I want to marry somebody that's very financially stable. I want to be able to be at home with my children. That's very, very, very important to me. That is absolutely like a
Non-negotiable.
That's a
Yeah.
non-negotiable.
Okay.
I love
yes,
that.
Yes, and I make no qualms about that. I don't feel guilty at all. My husband is going to go out and work, and I'm going to stay home and I'm going to raise our children, which is still very much a job.
Big
Yes,
I
ass
just
job.
won't be
Huge.
Huge.
Yeah, I just won't be getting paid from a corporation. You're going to go out and work, and you're going to come home, and the house is going to be as clean as it possibly can be with, kids and so on and so forth. But, I'm going to be happy fulfilling that role, and I'm going to be I forget where I was going with that, but I'm going to be happy in my feminine
Right.
essence there. And then, he's going to go off, and I don't really see myself texting, oh, hey, can you do this? Or hey, can you do that? I don't really necessarily need like that constant interaction,
Right.
I
Or
guess.
that validation approval. So
Yeah.
this is what we just did an episode on this, and that's what we were calling Avoid the Silence, where it's just like, sometimes it's like when it's too quiet, people feel like they need to fill in the space.
I
and
can't
that void.
stand
And
that.
so, but I know like
It's
the
the
good news is
worst.
for you, you're going to find your ebb and flow because you're aware of what you want to do, and you're already prefacing it right now. And even if you got one day bored of that, you'll find something to keep you busy and not have to feel like you're not doing anything, in other words.
Oh, yes. Thank you that
Yeah.
you're reminding me where I was going with that. I'll always have something going on, if it's the kids, or if it's like, maybe like some work with AA, some charitable endeavors
Good,
with people
good.
that are in sobriety. There's so many different things. I'm really grateful to have ever even existed on the internet. I assume that I'll probably still do something like a YouTube, or,
Okay.
even when I have kids and make a family, I assume that I'll still be existing in the internet in some way, some form. Hopefully not getting nude anymore. That's, I don't know about all that, but, I'll always be able to have an income like that, which I am grateful for. I'm sure sometimes it's going to be more and sometimes it's going to be less, but I want to make sure that I always have something going on outside the home, so I don't kind of lose that part of me, and I'm not essentially starting to like clamor at my partner, like,
Yeah.
what are we?
I don't
what's
see
going
that
on?
happening.
Do you
Yeah, I
think
don't see that either.
when you do have children, is it going to be an issue that you did pose nude? Do you ever think about that? Or
I
do you
do.
have sons,
Right.
daughters?
I do. And it's that's one that weighs heavily on me. I've definitely done a lot of work around that because I've been in relationships where I've been shamed for that.
Okay.
And I will absolutely never allow that again. I will never be shamed for something that I did before you even came into my life.
Here.
And I will never ever shame my partner. And if I did, like, may God smite me down right here, right now. Give me with that lightning bolt right here, right now, because that's not cool. That being said, you know, I'm very much open to if somebody did come in my life and say, hey, we really need to like do some sort of a rebranding. I'm definitely open to that. But I wouldn't, I wouldn't see,
You're saying you wouldn't see it as a negative though, for your kids.
Yes,
theory.
I wouldn't, because, you know, here's the thing. Mom was like, she was young, she was hot, she was doing what she was doing. She was doing what she needed to do to get by.
Right.
And I got by. So, I mean, unfortunately, you know, is that exactly the same route that I would want for my daughter, even for my son, because boys can be sex workers too. However, you know, I would love for them. This is the thing. If you're my kid and you want to post nude, I'm not going to immediately like turn you down for that. I just want for my kid to have options.
Right.
That's all. If you can go to school or if you can start a business and you're doing that and you say, okay, you know, I actually still want to do like, I want to do like an OnlyFans or whatever the website of the day might be. Okay, but I just want for you to have the option because I feel as though I didn't ever really have another option. When I got into webcamming, I was working at Walmart during the day to pay for my first boob job. Yeah, I saved up like all my Walmart money. I had 75 cents to eat for lunch
Walmart.
every day. Yeah.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Walmart.
it was definitely a Walmart boob job
Thank
too.
you, Walmart.
Shout out
Yeah.
to Walmart.
She's like, that would be on, those boobs would be on aisle 24.
Yeah.
If you wanna, like,
I
purchase a
wish.
pair.
I wish.
Sorry.
Oh my God. And so I did that and I saved up all my money and then I wanted to take some pictures and do the modeling thing. And I had originally wanted to go to college, which I don't think is like the route for everyone, especially nowadays. I think, you know, you just end up typically with more debt than what it's worth.
Yes.
But I wish I would have been, you know, able to maybe start a business or to even look at modeling as a business a lot younger. Once again, I was kind of just like flitting through life. I would go on Craigslist and I would get little odd jobs here and there and Model Mayhem and MySpace even. So I was working already, you know, why couldn't I have had the thought, or why didn't they teach in school, you know, you can actually own your own business. Like, you know, they don't tell us that.
No, they don't. They never do.
Exactly. So even though I only have a high school education, I still feel like at some point they could have, you know, said, hey, by the way, you know, you could own your own business and you can do, you know, the W-2s and all this and encourage us to set it up. But I mean, that's neither here nor there. But I just want my kids to have options, because there was a big point for me where I'm like, if I don't do this, if I don't do the webcamming thing, I'm going to be homeless on the streets. I'm going to be staying on my friend's couch for forever. I had just gotten my second DUI, so I didn't have any way to get to work as it was. So I really just like dug myself into this huge hole. And I'm really grateful that I started. I mean, it falls under the umbrella of sex work, even though I'm not having sex with anyone.
Right.
But I guess that would be like the industry term. And I'm grateful for it, but it was just like there wasn't any other option. My family doesn't have money. Like nobody had money. People could say, you know, you can come and sleep on the couch or sleep on the guest room. And there was a few times where I slept in my car because I didn't have enough gas money to go home and come back the next day to Walmart. And so, you know, I just wish I would have had options.
Right.
Yeah.
Are you close with your parents now?
Yeah. Yes, I was not at all. I was so angry at my parents and was a messy divorce. And so, yeah, for sure, I had daddy issues, y'all.
Okay. So
Daddy and mommy issues.
When did that come back around for you then? Like when she just asked that question for you, like when did you make peace with them?
You know, after I got sober.
Okay.
I've always kind of talked with my mom a little bit. I love my mom. She's an incredible woman. She's incredibly strong, but she is also a little wishy-washy, I guess, for lack of a better way to describe it. I wish I would have seen a little more strength from my mother in these everyday smaller activities. I hope I can provide that to my kids one day. I always thought, I always thought like women were weak and men were strong because my dad in the household was very loud and, slamming the hands down and the voice. And like, I always thought, okay, that's strength.
Right.
And then women are quiet and they don't really, you kind of always get walked over. And then like that the loud was masculine. I'm sorry. The loudness is masculine. And then the meek quietness is feminine. And so I had that super mixed up. That's not what I've learned now is you can say, no, thank you. And you can be very stern about it and you can still be feminine. You don't have to throw like a huge fit and cause a scene and be crazy. But that was like what I grew up with, that kind of a
environment.
Yeah, that kind of an environment.
Right.
So I think I was just so confused. And then I moved down to LA and I got like swept up in the party scene. And I really just like didn't know who I was. And I remember just being so pained by that because it felt like once again that everybody else had it figured out.
Right.
Everybody else was like having all these, successful relationships. And then people started getting married and having kids or, long-term relationships, buying a house. And I just always felt like, God, why don't I have that? And I think it's just because I had such a skewed idea of what is supposed to go on in the home. And then, we were really religious, so we didn't really talk about it at all.
Yeah.
So it was one of those things that kind of got swept under the rug.
Yeah. So then we just didn't talk for a while. And my family still doesn't really know what I do for the most part. They just know I don't ask for money.
Well, and that's okay. And if they asked you, do you think you would tell them? Like if they asked you, hey, what did you do in your past? Do you feel like you would tell them? In the place you're in right now. That's all I'm asking.
I would tell them. I mean, honestly, I don't know what my dad's response would be. I really don't.
How
I
does
think
he
my
not
dad
know?
They just don't. It's like small town.
Yeah,
My mom
they just
lives
don't
in.
wanna-
They
yeah.
just don't. They don't go on the internet. Like my mom doesn't have an email, and she's
Can
just
you
learning
imagine
to
if
text.
your dad Googled you or you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Or
I think
heard
my
from
uncle
somehow.
has. Yeah, I think my uncle has. He made like a comment one time at Thanksgiving. I'm like, okay.
It's
So which-
always
you don't think he
Thanksgiving.
told?
Yeah.
Why is it Thanksgiving
All
all
the
the time?
secrets always
Like, we
come
know what
out
you're
at-
doing. I'm like, oh God, dude.
Right. Do you feel like they have a whiff of it though?
Weird.
Like, do you feel like your parents, because if your uncle knows, you feel like maybe
No.
if someone's got to give a whiff of something?
No, my dad. I love my dad, but he has like his head so far up his own ass
Yeah.
for Jesus. He doesn't care.
Okay. All right.
I'm not asking for money, so it's like, they're good.
Okay.
I told my mom I went to the Playboy Mansion just to kind of see what she would say. This was years ago, and she was like, "Well, honey,
The breadcrumbs.
just be safe." I'm like, "Okay."
Yeah. My mom was always
Yeah.
like, the reason why I was asking because someone asked me that and I said, well, my mom asked one day in my 30s, like, she's like, Chris, I have to have something. I go, yeah, mom, back in my modeling days, whatever. She goes, have you done drugs? I go, listen, mom, I'm 31 now. If you're going to ask a big boy question, I'm going to give you a big boy answer. I said,
Right.
yes, I do. And she's like, oh my God, what do you do? I go, and so I stopped her. The reason why I was asking you this, I go, stop. I go, every time I'm with you and you see me, I'm fine, right? Do I look fine? I go, there have been moments I've been on drugs with you standing next to me and going off and coming back and doing it. Have I ever looked like I've been in trouble? Have I ever done
Right.
no? And I go, then just trust the fact that I'm fine.
Your mom is brave to ask
well,
that.
but she wanted to know. And I said, look, this is something that I do. It's my honesty factor. And I go, I don't need to skate around shit anymore because if you know me and you know me as a person, you're going to know that I'm always in control. I'm fine. Whether my friends ask or whatever it is, it's like whether, like I'll be honest, like 4th of July,
Right.
I'll be honest.
run around, right?
4th of July.
On ecstasy, on coke, whatever it
Hell
was. I'm putting it
yeah.
out there. People, all my friends know. And I go, they're like, are you okay to drive home? I'm like, I'm always okay to drive. I go because I know myself and I don't go overboard.
Okay.
I know my limitations and if I wasn't able to drive, I wouldn't drive. But otherwise I
But
go,
Chris, what if another car hits you?
I understand that, Jamie, and I'm not talking about all the other aspects. That's another conversation that we
Okay,
can
all
have.
right.
But all I'm saying is the fact that it's like, I know my limitations. I know
Yeah.
my control. I'm never going to do anything to wildly be out of sorts to where it's going to feel like it's going to get someone else in trouble.
Gotcha.
Because that's my force first and foremost.
Right.
I don't ever want to feel like I'm putting someone else in jeopardy.
Right.
So myself being who I am, it's like if I wasn't fine, then I'm not going
Right.
anywhere. I'll take that sleep in the club, which I've never done before.
Yeah.
But if it
That
required
sleep
it,
in the club.
You have self-control.
Yeah,
I can't
and
relate.
I do, and that's why I
That
was saying
falls
about.
asleep every time she drinks.
Oh my God.
We've
Yeah.
actually been at the Playboy Mansion and this bitch falls asleep.
Yeah.
I'm like, who the fuck fuck sleeps at the mansion? I mean, a lot of people do, but
Yeah.
Right.
and then same thing. As soon as we like get in the car, she's freaking knocked out.
God, I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. God bless.
I love
Yeah,
her.
you're in a good space right now. I feel like, and
love
like your
that.
energy, the way you're talking, I feel like, you know, when you have kids to answer that question, you'll know
Yeah.
what to tell them, and you'll know how they will react on how you bring them up. And
I mean, they're, you know, kids are, you can't hide everything from them.
you can't, but it's
Jay,
also
I'm just gonna tell you, kids are little assholes these days.
Yeah.
So there were a lot of times that I had to go knock on doors
Yeah.
of my daughter's friends and people at school because they're just freaking nasty.
Yeah.
So like being a single mom, we just had a conversation about it the other day. So I have 3 daughters.
Oh, wow.
And
oh, my gosh.
they're, I know, crazy. So he knows them. 3 girls, but we were like each other. We're like a team.
Yeah.
So one would get bullied at school. They made a diss track about her, printed out a bunch of my photos, passed them out at school. I couldn't fucking wait. Rally up the troops. We'd go over there and knock on the door. This is what your fucking son did. This is what he's saying about me.
wow, it's a team effort, man. I
What
tell you.
did the parents?
Mom, well, I found out about it later at night because she didn't want to go to school and she was so upset. So, but I didn't give a shit.
Yeah.
It was 9 o'clock at night, and I said, "Get in the car, let's go." And it was like me and her older sister, and she was so embarrassed. I'm like, "We don't care. You can sit in the car, but I'm knocking on the frickin' door because I always feel like I didn't want to take it to the school. I want to
Right.
take it to the source.
Yeah.
Right.
So as a parent, I'd appreciate it if someone came to me versus tattle at school. So
Right.
that's exactly what I did. And I knocked on the door. Both the parents came out. They called their son out. He came outside and I said, "Let me clarify something to you right now." And then I gave him my spiel because he was telling kids at school that I was a porn star,
Yeah.
yada
Got
yada.
it.
Yeah.
And
How old were you at this time, by the way? How old?
it was high school.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like
I was gonna say, that's the-
even in junior high, it
Yeah.
was the same thing. My
Yeah.
kids always had a hard time.
Yes.
I was
And-
going to say, unfortunately, the junior, middle school, high
Yes.
school years are, as we all know, are shitty years.
Yes,
So.
I had a
It's
girlfriend
hard.
who is incredibly good looking, and her boys were bullied because she wore white shorts to pick them up one day. So it's kind of
It's-
anything with
yeah.
kids. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And that's what I tried to tell him. I'm like, if it's not one thing, it's another.
Yeah.
But I do, like, my older one is very, like, conservative and into the church. So it's like, I always feel judged by her.
Yeah, I think
no
I think the whole
offense,
God
but-
thing is really beautiful. You know, God in my 12-step program stands for good orderly direction. So I love God. I have like a whole relationship with a higher power, but I just think like, you know, religion is a little rough. That's when
It
it gets
is.
a little rough.
It is. And I tell everyone, like, I'm Catholic, and I was an altar boy all the way through till I was 18, all the
Were
way
you
through high school.
molested? Well, I don't know. You know, that's what they say about the Catholic Church.
You know what? All I got to say is I had
No
a
offense.
good priest, thank God. So that's all I got to
Thank-
say.
yeah.
He never touched you.
No, I mean,
Oh.
I just wanted to get wine from the fucker half the time in the back. But, you know, I'm like, what is this wine stuff back
He's
here? What is
like,
that?
all the other boys get wine. I'll go out and get you wine.
Right.
It's like, oh God.
What's going on in there? No. What I'm getting at is the fact that I tell everyone you have to take away what you get out of it, and that's it. And thank God, like my mom and my dad, they never pushed it on us. They just thought that this is a good route for you guys, and you make the most out of it. Which I tell my girls, I don't care if they're both baptized. I could care less if they go to church or not. And and I get from my sister, and like, you guys don't go to church. I'm like, why? I have a relationship with God already. I don't
Yeah.
need any more.
Yeah.
I'm a good person.
That's what I say.
don't need
As long
any
as
more.
you have your own personal relationship
That's correct.
with a higher power, whatever
Right.
it may be, then I think you're in a good space. Be a good person, live an
Yep.
honest life, and continue to serve.
Right. Yes.
So,
That's it. Whoa, you're gonna have fun with kids.
Yeah.
I can't fucking wait.
I'm sure it's gonna be, you know, it'll be an experience like
Yeah.
everything else.
You'll do amazing.
Yeah.
And I think that the childhood that you described enables you to be a million times better as a parent. So it's such a blessing in a lot of ways because, again, like with our relationships, you've learned what worked and what did not work,
Yeah.
and then you can redirect.
Yeah, I would rather have experienced everything that I did so I can learn from it and move forward from there. So I'm grateful for the experiences.
Right.
All in all, you know, childhood was good. Life is good. No complaints.
Well, and that's the thing. It's just like, I mean, look where you're at now in your life. And I always tell people your life experiences. And I love something you said earlier, I'm going to come back to, is the fact that when you're with someone and like you're talking about a guy with stuff that you do, Your past is your past. Like
Yeah.
I tell everyone, I go, even with my girlfriend, I said, look, I go, your past, right at this moment, we start now.
Right.
You know, that past is has made you who you are.
Yeah.
Whether it be seasoned experience, whatever it is, it's like, it just made you better for me at that moment in time. And I don't judge in that aspect.
Right.
So
I love
that's
that.
the stuff you're looking for. And that's the person that's going to stand behind you.
CJ, I have to ask.
Yeah.
I saw a video of you, and it says that like you are no go on anal.
Okay, so I like butt plugs. I like
Okay.
toys in my ass. I just don't know about a penis in my ass.
Okay.
It's just unpredictable.
Right.
Really?
That makes sense? Yeah. But I
No,
like butt
explain.
plugs. I love butt plugs.
But talk about
It's
the
like my big thing.
unpredictability.
Like,
is
what
she's
if
saying.
you? So if you have a partner that's like, hey, I'm really into anal, would it be a non-negotiable?
Oh, honestly, at this point, and if I had somebody telling me anal is really important and it's going to be a big part of my sex life, I don't think I could go forward with that person because I wouldn't be confident that I would be able to please them in the way that they're really seeking to be pleased.
Right.
Pretty much anything else, you
Right.
know, like
She's like, I'm game.
I'm open. I'm more open-minded now at this point in my life than I've ever been before. So I'm excited for that for myself, for my journey there. But I'm just not. It doesn't do it for me. I like
Got
butt
it.
plugs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you like butt plugs?
I would like to see.
You want to see a butt plug? Let me get it out. I brought it today.
Catching me on the
Woo!
spot today, aren't you? This is good. Oh, we're gonna get in this
No.
one.
I love toys. I
Yeah.
love toys during sex.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't be with somebody that was.
I'm with
That
you. on
wouldn't
that. I
allow
love the
toys in the
toys.
room?
Yeah. No,
No.
I love the toys. The more the merrier
No.
in that sense, though, because I just
I don't have a lot of experience with them. What do I need to try?
Okay, for sure you need to try a glass dildo. For sure.
What if it breaks off inside of you?
See, why do you gotta go there?
How hard are you fucking
Sorry.
yourself with a glass
Right?
dildo?
I'm just like-
It breaks. You're like, oh
Okay.
God, shards of glass in my vagina.
Sure, I had went to a glass and like a vase, basically.
Well,
Like,
because you know how you hear the stories of guys like putting things in their butt and it
Yeah,
breaks.
that's guys.
I'm
okay.
like going, I have not heard these stories,
Oh,
and
I
I'm
have
like,
because I have some friends that are nurses, so
Was it
they
glass?
love to.
Was it glass?
Yeah, they put like bottles and things.
okay,
together.
we're idiots. We
okay,
are all
back
idiots. Okay, it's like,
back to this. Okay, I need a glass one.
Yes,
What?
it's so hot because they're a little heavier and they're cold. So it's like the sensation is just like ooh, like it's gives it that added element of excitement. That's my favorite. I'm all about glass dildos. And honestly, having sex with a butt plug in is like so fun because you just feel so like you feel like really naughty, even though you're like really not doing naughty
Right.
things. Really, it's actually like not that big of a deal, but you just feel very full. It's like very exciting, and then also it's like it's still only like a one person, you and that other person situation, so it feels like kind of a lot is happening, but it's still like an intimate setting. So that's like my two favorite things right
How
now.
do you introduce that to a new partner? Like, put this in my butt. Like, what do you say?
Yeah.
You just pull it out of the drawer.
I mean, it's
Is
communication.
it under?
once
Is it
again,
under the
though.
pillow?
And a lot of for sure it's like got to be near the bed. It needs to
Yeah.
be within arm's reach.
Right.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
then if you get up and you like have to go far, it can kind of kill the mood. But also
Walking
like
in, like
coconut oil, like you put the coconut oil everywhere, and then so if you have butt plugs and it just like
Goes right
All
in.
right.
goes right
Okay.
in. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I like that. Yeah. Now here's the caveat. Now you were saying something about the unpredictability. Now, so if you're with someone, you're doing that. You're at that level now. Obviously, you've communicated because the butt plug is now in.
Well,
and
maybe
it's
she
there.
hasn't.
No, but
do
hold
you
on.
communicate that, or do you just
That-
pull it out from under the pillow?
Recently I've communicated with, but you could also
Before.
just pull it out.
And
but
I
I mean,
didn't
it's
mean
kind
like
of
verbal communication. I'm
Yeah.
like, if I'm seeing visual, I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
it's like,
it would be kind of
Yeah.
disappointing if you pulled it out and they were like, oh.
Right.
Yeah, if
right.
someone pulled out a butt plug with me, I would be like, "What the fuck is that?" I don't even know what they look like.
Yeah.
I'm googling it.
You have to get like a box of sex toys.
Yeah.
I don't like anything in my butt. Not even a finger.
Have you tried it? Okay, finger is like weird, but who wants to put? And I'm sorry too. Don't lick my ass. Don't lick my ass. I don't want my ass licked. Then you come up to kiss me. I know some people are really into it. I'm not. Into
I don't like it.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not into it. It's not really. I guess if I could orgasm through that, but
Right.
I can't really orgasm through that. So it's
Okay.
like,
Oh, these are really pretty.
yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Wait a
Well, I
minute.
guess, you know,
One of them has a tail.
Oh yeah. I know that's what.
It's the variety.
Somebody made a joke yesterday, like, "Oh, you're gonna be a lion? Are you gonna have a lion butt plug in while you're at the pool?" I'm like, "No." Oh my god.
Do yours have tails? One has a taco.
I would.
What?
Yeah, I would. I probably need to up my game.
I'm laughing at the lion thing. You know, oh, you
Yeah.
can like no, and you're like,
Wait, do you do the
maybe.
tails?
My last ex stole all my sex toys, so I need to start
What an
building my
asshole.
Gotta build it up
collection
again.
again. Yeah, yeah.
This
All right.
is exciting.
Yeah, see.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
do. I should get a tail one.
We're investing in one.
And
for
then
you.
Yeah.
some of them vibrate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like the vibrating. I don't like the vibrating. I know.
Let's start her off simple. Let's
Okay,
just,
yeah.
We'll start her
All right.
simple. The
Just
glass
get
one.
simple glass
butt
This one
dildo.
with a
No,
taco.
see, we have to give her this
Preferably
one
with a
here.
curve
We
on
gotta give her
it. Get the
ones like
curve.
that. You know, like the one like this here is the one we need to start off.
Okay, with
know?
the oh god,
Not-
that's
not
so,
the
taco holder butt plug.
That
And
is
the
really
site
funny.
that it's on is called "This Is Why I'm Broke." Oh god. Okay, so let me tell you this though. I don't
you-
really like these. But hold on, I'm gonna do butt plug chain. I don't really like those because I feel like those don't go deep enough.
All right, guys, you're getting
CJ's gonna give me a.
Yeah.
101 lesson in butt plugging over here, which is going to be great. So
I love
know there's a
learning
lo-
new stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
And I
This is,
honestly
like, the
feel like it's
best.
like if someone's pulling out, whether it be verbal or not, it's a part of their sexual growth, which
Yeah.
I love. And that's just if you
I mean,
communicate
This
that.
is like what I
I don't know if I
have.
could do it, but I love learning from
Right.
Yeah.
from other people
as
for
long as
sure.
it's not pegging, right?
No,
Remember the-
no.
I don't. If I was dating somebody and they really needed that, I would consider it
You would peg?
pegging.
Really?
That was a funny one.
This
Learned about
this
that
one is like these. Please pay no attention to those. Those are very disturbing looking. But like this is like
I'll
the
pass
one,
to
the
her.
one with the 3. That's
Okay.
like the
Oh,
kind
I
of
saw
butt
it.
gonna
plugs
It
that
said
I
scroll
like.
up. You have to scroll up
Yeah.
one shot. It went down by one, I think, or something.
Oh, okay.
So,
Got
yeah.
it.
Right. Yeah, I think that Jamie needs to experiment a little bit more in her life, and I don't think any of your guys would ever be like opposed to any of it as well. So I appreciate that. By the way.
Men shouldn't make you feel. It's
No.
one thing, when you're dating somebody, especially when you're getting to know them. It's one thing if you're not into something. It's completely fine to say that I actually don't really know how I feel about that.
Yeah.
Or, I don't really think I might be into that.
Right.
But like you should never go like, whoa, that's gross, or you shouldn't, because you're sharing such an intimate detail
Right.
with that other person.
Agreed.
Potentially in a very intimate moment, so you want to just try to discuss it like gingerly, honestly, but like gingerly, because you want to try not to like shame the other person.
And quite frankly, you're saying something right there. I feel like sometimes you might just have to pull something out and just in the whole
Yeah.
situation of
Yeah.
the just of the play.
Yeah.
And when
Yeah.
you pull it out, the person's going to be like, oh, and they might just be just as excited. And one thing about that is just the there's so much miscommunication half the time. When one person does something and they're like, wow, I've been waiting for something that I wanted to share that with you. I wanted to actually explore that, but
Yeah.
they're just too afraid half the time.
Yeah.
So
And you might have to ask a couple times.
Of course,
You
right.
know? Yeah. Yeah.
Or videos or whatever, like I always said, like just start off small by just if you're watching something together and say, oh my God, that would be interesting, or a
Yeah.
conversation. So there's lots of ways to do it, but yeah, you got to get your game
you
stepped
you have to talk about it.
Yeah.
You have to be willing to get uncomfortable.
up. Get her stepping it
Fuck
up.
off. Chris.
Toys are awesome. Toys are awesome.
All right.
Thank you, CJ. Thank you for saying that.
I love it.
You'll like him, Jamie.
Okay.
Pretty good.
All right, is there anything we want out of CJ today? You've been an amazing guest today, by
Anything
the way.
you
Oh my
want to
God.
plug?
Besides
your
my asshole. My podcast as well, Inside
Yay.
OnlyFans.
How's that going, by the way?
It's so much fun.
Okay.
It's myself, Kayla Loren, and then Maximini. He's the pod daddy. He's the producer, pod daddy. It's so much fun. I really love doing these podcasts because we get to talk to some really wild, really incredible guests.
Great.
And these people are having so much sex, and they're like, for the most part, even the women that maybe aren't sharing it on their
Okay.
OnlyFans, or the men that aren't sharing on their OnlyFans. I've just became so, it's been so good for me. It's been so insightful. It's
Good.
been so intriguing, and it's like expanded my mind, 100-fold. So I'm really proud of the podcast that we have going as well. And
How many years now, or how long has this been
just
on
one,
for?
yeah,
Okay,
1
got
year,
it.
1 year
Great.
now. Yeah, coming up in October.
Okay.
Yay,
Yeah.
And
that's awesome.
once a week it's out. How often is it out? And all that
Wednesdays.
stuff?
Wednesdays, a new episode comes out every Wednesday, and we have a fresh episode right now. We're doing like our top 3 or 4. We're redoing them, and then we have a brand new one coming out with a very special guest very soon, and it's so crazy. I may or may not. There may or may not have been some squirting of breast milk that somehow ended up in my mouth. Just saying. So yeah, if everybody could keep a watch out for that, it's a lot of fun, and what I love about you guys is the open, honest conversation. There's a lot of that there as well.
Thank you. Yeah, that's one
That's
thing
how
we
we
try
learn.
Yeah, and we don't deep dive as much as like some other shows, but I feel like we just we'll go as deep as we can.
Yeah.
But it's
a lot of butt
fun.
plug analogies
Yeah, I
right now.
love that.
We'll go as
Love
deep as
that.
we
I
can,
love
baby.
it. Yeah. I love that. All right, Jamie, what about you today? You good? What do you got going on?
Yeah, just shout out to Kill Cliff. Thank you for these amazing drinks, and it's Orange Crush.
All right.
Tastes really good too. So
Nice.
Sweet.
All right, I'm gonna
Why
give
are you looking at me like
I'm
that?
not. I'm just like
What the fuck, Chris?
I had a glass moment of it breaking off inside of you or something crazy.
Oh no! Glass dildo.
Oh yeah, that should be a meme now. Is it gonna break off inside of me?
never
Well,
be
I
the
don't know.
same.
That's probably because of my nurse friends. Let's just
Yeah.
Okay. You're gonna have to.
You
Right.
have to go really hard. I think you're gonna be fine.
I'm gonna give a shout out to Virgin Aaliyah Beach Club. I'm sporting their Aaliyah Beach Club shirt right now today, so
yeah.
which I really like, and it's been a grand summer there. So I just want to give a shout out to the guys over there.
We love J
Yeah,
Rock.
J
Well,
Rock,
that's where
crushing it.
That's where we're staying.
Oh, great!
Maybe you could-
Nice, love the Virgin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe you guys could hook me up with something. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll connect
We'll
you
talk to
with
Shireen.
yeah.
Yeah,
Shireen
Oh
or
yes,
J-Rock.
for sure.
Dinner or
And-
something. Dinner,
and J Rock, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Sweet.
All right,
I
we'll
love
talk
that.
more after the episodo's over and
Okay.
stuff.
All right, Virgin. Hey. After we talk about butt plugs.
Yeah, right. It's like
They're all, ma'am, you don't fit the criteria.
they're gonna be checking you at the club now. 'Cause, I mean, they check hard. Do you remember that shit? They're gonna be checking. They're like,
Oh,
okay,
so hard.
CJ, we heard about you. Let's bend it over, girl.
Oh God.
All right, and we're gonna want to give a shout out and just say, check us out at Anything Dating Intelligence on social media, and me personally at Fetch Sport. And please go on YouTube, subscribe, guys, and watch the show when it comes out. But we are so happy to have you on today. Thank you for
Thank
taking
you
the
for
time
having
out.
me. I
for
really
sure.
appreciate you guys.
All right, guys. CJ Sparxx on the show, an incredible guest today. Jamie, thank you so much again, and that's another episode, guys.